Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and as always, welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update. Yes, welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update, wherein I have to make a formal apology immediately due to the audio quality, because I'm in a room with a 10-foot ceiling, and the raw audio from the camera sounds like this, which is fucking awful. So this is the best I've been able to do to make it sound moderately acceptable. However, I understand this is still far from ideal. Apologies in advance for that, but with that out of the way, you know that it's a good week when there's something to talk about from the big events that isn't simply Snake Eye, because I'm pretty sure there's nothing left for me to say in regards to that deck, and based on what I've seen from my comment sections, you all hate that deck anyways and don't want to hear me talk about it. So, hurrah. So while we await the Central American WCQ to take place this weekend, we get to look at Europe as it decided to stay true to its roots this past weekend, because German Nationals and the UK Nationals were won not by Snake Eye decks, and that means there's something for me to talk about. Instead, the EU was terrorized once again by their greatest and oldest enemy, plants. Yes, at the German Nationals, an event that saw more than 2,100 duelists in attendance, with plenty of the things you'd expect in the top cut, including Snake Eye and Tenpai, the melodious decks everyone's been kinda, not hyping up, but you know, it's been there, it's solid, it's a good deck, and even decks that you forgot it existed, like Chimera or Tri-Brigade Sprite. And out of all of these things, fucking plants came out on top, as is the European tradition. You thought limiting Dryas and Healer killed the deck? Congratulations, you thought like an idiot! Because 60 card plant pile won the entirety of the event, featuring some fancy newer Aroma cards that we got in Phantom Nightmare, and of course the new Ragnarika cards as well. By the new Ragnarika cards, I mean like 6 of them. I think 3 unique cards total, 4 unique cards total. It's a plant pile deck. It's really not a shock to see that they use a limited amount of the moderately okay Ragnarika engine. But don't worry, because not only did plants win at German Nationals, they also came second at the UK Nationals as well. A roughly 1,300 player event, wherein the plant princess herself, Jess Robinson, went on an undefeated tear up until the finals, wherein the puppet struck once again. It's no surprise in the grand scheme, considering she was a Worlds competitor, so the tearing up of the metagame isn't a complete and total shock. It's just really funny that it's plants again. But as said, it's no match for the puppet, and she lost to the lock ultimately, which is you know, the one thing Branded's known for. It's just puppet locking, so that's fucking cool. This was especially notable because it resulted in people declaring their hatred for puppet lock online, which was met with the response that plant decks and their end boards are kind of functionally just as toxic as well. Like in a practical sense, if they get to do their full thing, you don't get to play either. There's just, I guess, an allowance of you get to think there's an attempt. Puppet Lock says there's no attempt at all. Plants, you're like, well, maybe, but no. Which is really funny, because it led to people like defending plant decks and how they're good, but it's like they just wanted to defend. Like, if you want to root for Jess, that's perfectly fine, but like, plant decks suck to face. Who are we kidding here? Either way, it was a very fun time and made for a very funny read on Twitter. The moral of the story is that both these decks kinda suck for the game on a macro level, but if nothing else, it did allow for the crowd chanting of Puppet in the finals, which was funny to watch. NA crowds could never be that involved in the duel. But wait, there's also more, because while the German Nationals and UK Nationals were torn up by plants, the Lithuania Nationals were as well. That's right, not even the 75-player event in fucking Lithuania could stand up to plants this weekend, confirming that Europeans cannot handle plants in any capacity, and that is the funniest thing to happen at Nationals all weekend. Well, that's what I would be saying if I didn't have the extreme pleasure of going over this week's Spice Watch, which was fucking phenomenal. Because amidst the entire continent of Europe collapsing under the weight of greenery, one absolute legend did get top 4 at UK Nationals with the best not a meme tech card in the entirety of the game. Yes, the UK's own Louis Tuloszewski? Which I hope I pronounced correctly, and if not, it's not my fault, I'm not Polish. And if that isn't Polish, it's not my fault, that sounds so goddamn Polish. pardon my European ignorance. Still, this certified mad lad read a fairly standard Labyrinth list, all things considered. There's the neat things to talk about, like the runic flashing fire, which works going second to pop an opponent's monster, but also going first so that you can set it and then chain this in response to the opponent's Feather Duster or Lightning Storm to summon out Hugin and then use Hugin's effect to protect your back row. And then there's, of course, you know, the 3 skill drain, because, I mean, Labyrinth, if we can flip a coin whether or not you'll see skill drain in a given fucking Labyrinth duel. But the real spice of our Spice Watch today goes to the, not kidding, playset of Simultaneous Equation Cannon in the fucking main deck. An actual real quick math equation that, if it was able to resolve, will banish the opponent's entire field, which is a really good effect. But the problem is you're constantly having to do math and monitor the number of cards in both players' hands and field, and a monster's level on the field in accordance with 2 Xyz monsters and a fusion monster whose total levels and rank equal. It's a fucking equation to the point where you'd probably have to be like a math teacher or something to be playing this. And apparently that's the fucking thing. Apparently this dude's just a math teacher or like a math enthusiast. I don't know. He's involved in math in some capacity, from what I've been able to find. And more than that, apparently there was a group of people playing this in lab, since another player actually resolved this fucking card on stream in a feature match and then pulled off a genuine Jim Halpert moment by looking at the camera. Or I suppose because this was the UK Nationals, it was a genuine Tim Canterbury. I don't know, this joke fucking sucks. Either way, behold the face of a man who managed to successfully resolve Simultaneous Equation Cannon for the world to see. That's a deserved smile, I think, and a huge thanks from me for not using Linear Equation Cannon so that I don't have to remake that single card history video I made earlier. But either way, that's a fucking meme tech and a half, and I can't believe it. That's apparently a reasonable tech in Labyrinth. What is that fucking deck? In some other competitive news, Master Duel's World Championship qualifiers have begun since like the 11th, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, this is the weekend wherein we kick off the 72-hour grind to get one singular qualifier from each of the 6 regions to be able to get an invite to Worlds. Or that's the case for just about everyone else that isn't North American exactly, because for some reason North America gets 2 players when everyone else just gets 1. I honestly kind of expected Japan to be like, fuck you, we get 2 because Japan. But no, apparently Japan, the entire rest of Asia, South America, the entirety of Europe, the Middle East, and Oceanica are all the other regions that get 1 player, and North America gets 2. Initially, I was like, maybe that's because Team 7 had the issue because they got the invite carried over from last year, but one of the players wasn't able to attend, so maybe they were like, oh, we'll replace them from the region that they were competing from. But no, apparently they're still going, and that's completely false, so I just have no fucking clue why. It simply is the case. If you are complaining, simply try being an American next time. You know, like famous United States authentic players Jesse Cotton and Ryan Yu, who are most definitely totally from the United States of America and are American players. All of this to say, get ready for the No Life Champions to rise up this weekend, because Master Duel still has settled on this on a great way to decide the qualifiers, and no disrespect to those playing, I'm just saying, how the fuck is this the way to do it? That's some fucked up shit. We're also going to be getting a new Lost Art promo in TCG land with a chance to get the Lost Art Treeborn Frog if you spend 30 American dollarinos at any official local store, which is really cool for fans of frogs wearing hats. And by hats, I of course mean halos, because he's fucking dead and being reborn. Get it? It's almost like the name's a pun. Holy shit. Someone write a 4,800 character rant about how that pun is stupid and lame, and how the TCG should be more like the OCG, where the names are all puns, but they're Japanese. I have no idea what this card's name is in Japanese, fun fact, but I do know that while you're at your locals spending 30 American dollarinos or the equivalent, you can also go ahead and enter event to win some OTS Pack 25, just as long as you aren't Australian, because Australians won't be getting OTS Pack 25 for about 28 years or something to that effect, because you might be able to pull an ultimate rare Exodia, with the heaviest quotations around ultimate possible, because this is the ultimate rare Exodia.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
I know, that's right. That is a correct statement, Joe Pesci. This is a piece of shit. The ultimate embossing is only on the background, which is like 10% of the card, maybe? I might even have a fucking rant about how stupid some of these ultimate rares we're getting are, because this is a fucking insult. Why make it an ultimate rare if that's the fucking case and job you're gonna be doing on the embossing? It's a fucking comet. It's a goddamn peasant rare and an insult to the smug, condescending arrogance exuded by people who play ultimate rare cards. Absolutely disgusting. I'm pissed. So let's just move on from that nonsense to some other nonsense. For starters, the OCG will be getting their ban list revealed to them on Sunday the 23rd, with it coming into effect on July the 1st. This is once again clear communication from Konami to Japanese players, but more importantly than that, a completely transparent fuck you from TCG players to Big Daddy Konami, and vice versa. I mixed that up, but truly it applies both ways, if we're being completely honest. We'll be getting a list in the middle of the World Championship qualifiers? Probably not. They're starting this weekend, but that means we have to wait till afterwards, which, fuck me, dude. Snake Eye all the way down. So, moving on to less insulting news, we do have the truest Yu-Gi-Oh! Cliche of all time, as we take a chance to look at the reveals from the 3 new archetypes from the upcoming OCG Crossover Breakers deck building pack. And you know we're going to be getting those tried and true Yu-Gi-Oh! Robot, anime girls, and dragons, because that's all this fucking game is, baby. Rizol is a new Xyz themed deck featuring this delicious little form of Zeus material, which might not be its main purpose, but certainly it serves a dual purpose in being able to do that, and like 99.9% certainty. I suppose it could say can't be used as Xyz material, but like, almost certainly just Zeus fodder. And if you aren't a fan of the robot, maybe you're more of a fan of the anime girl in the new Malice deck, which is apparently a Cybers one that looks like it'll probably be something to do with the suits of cards, or maybe even possibly copiumly some Alice in Wonderland themed shenanigans. Malice? Alice? The Queen of Hearts, who knows? But if you aren't a fan of that and instead desperately want more dragons in our game that just lacks dragons so goddamn much, you can take a look at these things, because I'm told that's a dragon, but visually all I see is a centaur wearing stilettos. It is Yu-Gi-Oh! Though, so we do just call half the shit in this game dragon and call it a day. Still Long Hua, maybe, is a deck about 3 dragons vying for supremacy. Hopefully the others are less horse-like, and truthfully, if one of them were to turn out to be yak-inspired, I would burn this entire earth to the ground due to my supreme hatred of yaks. Fuck yaks. As of yet, this is all we know for these decks, very little, just the translated names, which of course are not official, so by the time we actually get them here in the TCG, they could very likely change. So it might not be Malice, it might be Pingleman, and you'll just have to fucking live with that, and the Pingleman meta that follows it. Still, we'll get more information in the coming weeks, and until then, I'm fucking done. As always, shoutouts this week go to the LIFD Magnetic Display for sponsoring the channel. The True Duelist Away proved what cards, show off the cards and money. That's it. Perfect sales pitch, nailing it. We're not doing another take. If you want to use promo code YGOSTRATS15, you can type it in at the checkout, click the link in the description. You'll save 50% off one of these bad boys. Be the 3-card display or the 1-card today. Either way, it rhymes, so it's true. And thank you to LIFD for the support. And for you for watching. So, that's it. Craig Feg, shoot me in the leg. I don't have any. You've never seen my legs. You can't tell me otherwise. That's it. Goodbye. Please hit subscribe, impress your smoking Italian wife, become a true duelist, find a bag of chips, and build a boat with Tim Robbins. In that order. Thanks, that's it. I'm done. I'm sweating. There's a thunderstorm. It's crazy out here. See you next week, folks. Have